Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Trish. Today's reading, I'd like to do a little deep dive and take a look beneath the surface and see if we can reveal what really happened in the meeting between Trump and the King, as well as Trump and Starmer. I think very different energies between the two, and I just want to use the cards to see what they can reveal for us that happened there. I'm going to be using the Government Governance Oracle today because that is the best one for this style of reading, and I'm also going to be using it with the new Forecaster Oracle, and we may look at some upcoming predictions with the energies of the two countries. So let's get into this reading. First question. Please show me the energy between Donald Trump and King Charles. Welcome back. So I'm just taking a look at the current energy between Trump and the King, what the energy is there. Now, the first card that flicked out was the easily bought card. So maybe some kind of deals being made, or maybe it was an easy transaction, like an easy deal agreement negotiation. I know it wasn't like a negotiation between countries, but obviously there was a reason, and that's what I'm trying to look into today to see what the real reason is behind this collaboration or this meeting. What is the hidden mysteries beyond the pageantry is what I'm looking for. But first of all, just tapping into the energies of this coming together, this meeting, this banquet. We have a collective action. Well, they don't show you too much about, and they try to avoid some of the action that was going on outside. I think the way that they traveled in the car, traveled in the procession they did, was to purposely avoid some of this action that was going on outside, the tension between the people. Now, this tension is going on around the world, but it was actively directed at the two. So here this energy here, they tried to cover this energy up a little bit, but it's on the table, indicating that it was a concern. It was something that was happening. Maybe they were trying to change the focus away from that energy. So maybe part of this is a way to change the focus of the people, because you can see around the world the tension and what's happening and the uprisings and what's going on with the world. So maybe they're coming together partly to kind of come up with a change in focus to work out what they're going to do about the people, the collective action of the people. Now, there was lots of other things at this meeting, and I'm going to go through some of the key highlights of the deals that were made, but I do think it was an easy meeting. It was either easily bought, easily agreed to, or something about it was very easy. Maybe it was a buyout of some sort, but that went through very easily. Now, somebody in trying to improve relations between the two countries, of course, I feel this is somehow connected, and we'll see what comes up when we do the Starmer reading. I think there's something there trying to, I think that was kind of a underlying thing. Something was going on. These cards are giving me that general vibe, and I'm getting that from trying to change the narrative, change the focus, change the energies, the current energies is what's underlying with this meeting, but improving the situation. Maybe they're looking at ways to improve the public opinion. Maybe they're looking at ways to improve current leadership. There's energy there around that. Now, lacking readiness, I don't think, maybe they weren't prepared. Maybe there's an element here of not being prepared. Maybe that it's maybe how part of this focus is getting some attention off Starmer and what's going on with Starmer. This is the vibe I'm picking up here. So he being a trusted advisor. Both of these are indicating, I'm just pulling in these two energies here now at the moment on the inside of this. Now, if I was to read this as Starmer, I don't know why I'm reading this as Starmer, even though I'm talking about the closed doors meetings between Trump and the King. Looking for change. They're looking for change to trusted advisors. Pen talks about deals, talks about making deals, negotiations. It can talk about with the flick of a pen, deals get done easily. Okay, so looking through depletion and scarcity, cognitive dissonance is narrative disruption. So again, this aligns under this card here. So it is okay, narrative. Let me explain this card a little bit better. So, and then and trust collapse, credibility collapse. Now, why I think this is important. So, cognitive dissonance is when the system changes so much that what you believed in or what you thought was true or factual is a shock when you actually find out what is real and what the real narrative is behind it all. So it's that sense of what you once believe it shakes your world because it's like, ooh, how could that be? That's so different. It's like an adjustment of understanding, really. Cognitive means thinking, the way you think about something. Dissonance means when you're it's like that confusion fog inside of your brain where it's like you're not quite sure how this can be. You're trying to wrap your head around it. You're trying to wrap your mind around what this situation is. Now, it's a narrative disruption. They're wanting to disrupt the current narrative. So the way the people are acting, this collective energy that's going on with the people around the world, and especially UK, they're wanting to disrupt that narrative. They're wanting to make some change. There is total trust collapse. There's broken credibility. Now, I've placed this one sitting above what I thought might have been Starmer, but part of this discussions, not so much what they came in to agree on and what the key highlights or deals that were made, but some of the other things in conversation that were private, and that's what I like to pry in and have a look at. So I think there's something in there about a discussion about trusted advisors and how the people, because you can see this diagonal line down here, this diagonal line says, look at these people standing up, they're not happy, they're not happy. This is the collective action of the people. They have broken credibility. They no longer trust their trusted advisors or people put in place to be their trusted advisors. They feel that the current situation, they're lacking readiness. Now, maybe they feel they're lacking readiness about an upcoming war in Europe. So they're trying to change the focus here, improve the situation, put plans in place to be better equipped to manage. And this does, I'm picking up, this is energy around supercomputers and AI, different kinds of technology, because war isn't always fought on the ground in battle. War is sometimes fought in the cyber. So in the there's a name for that kind of war. So if you know, let me know. But there's a certain name of that type of warfare. But I feel like they're not prepared, but they're trying to get prepared. That's definitely what I'm picking up here. So part of these deals that were made, because you can see the deals with the pen, the part of the deals that were made was about getting prepared for war on a cyber level. Supercomputers, AI, and I'm going to run through some of those coming up in this reading, why they are very important, because I feel they're not ready for a war with Russia, but they want to be either prepared or more knowledgeable in a way, I guess. Now, getting back to this line here before I diverted, then I saw that and I just wanted to bring that message through. But coming back here is part one of the issues that would have been discussed would have been the collective action of the people in the UK, how they've got their trust has collapsed in the trusted advisors, broken credibility that's taken place. You can see where this is sitting, and what solutions there are to do that. Well, one thing you can do is change your focus. You can change the focus of the people to get them talking about something else. It's a little trick they call distraction. You all know what that is, but sometimes a change in focus can indicate a distraction. So how do you change the course of people acting a certain way with the broken credibility? You try to change their focus onto something else. So that's just one of their main, and maybe even like a cognitive dissonance here, this narrative disruption. It's confusing, but it's like a shift of attention from one place to another. Now, let me just pull that energy in a little bit more with this one here, and I'm just trying to see what I'm pulling out of that quickly before I say I'm looking at expression here, and some of the things that happened in that meeting during the speeches, which I found were very interesting, was the expression of Trump while King Charles was speaking, the expression of King Charles while Trump was speaking. So I will get into that when I talk about their speeches, but that I found interesting. Now, getting back in and tapping into this energy, because I'm feeling something around like the confusion or the expression. Now, somehow, why is that connected to the collective action, the people, when their narrative gets disrupted? Sitting on the, almost like we could call that distraction, changing their focus onto something else, disrupting what they're currently thinking about or acting or collective action. So disrupting the narrative of that kind of collective action because of this reason. And down here they're changing their focus. So instead they're shifting gears, focusing on preparation for war, preparation for getting prepared. I feel this is kind of what really happened. They're getting themselves ready for, they talked about the AUKUS deal. They were also talking about massive investment in, let me just get the facts here. So massive investment over £250 billion, or that's 340 billion in bilateral investment announced. Major contributions from Microsoft, Google, Blackstone and GSK, big contributions there. So yeah, that's kind of really interesting, and I might deep dive on that one as well. The other thing I found interesting was quantum computing, supercomputer 6G was talked about, deals made around that. So joint initiatives to develop quantum infrastructure, next-gen data centres, and the UK's largest supercomputer in partnership with N-Scale. I think I'm saying that correctly. That's part of this getting readiness kind of thing, changing focus. But yeah, I feel there's something also involved there as well. Talks about nuclear energy, but I'll get into each one as we go. So let's just do a little bit of energy reading around the meeting between Starmer and Trump, and then I'll get into all of some of these key highlighted deals. Energy between Keir Starmer and Donald Trump. Now we're looking at open negotiations here, open talks and negotiations. Now, lacking control. Okay, so the motive or message behind this, the energy behind it, is that it feels to be Keir Starmer losing control. He's not in control of what's going on regarding the immigration, borders, deportation, or we'll call it immigration and the borders kind of issues, and how he needs to get control of that. So that is a really relevant topic or underlying energy to the energy between Starmer and Trump. Now, relentless determination. Are we looking at Trump or Keir here? Keir Starmer's relentless determination to stay in control or to keep control. But there's questions around his ability to be in control, to lead, or to get a handle of the people, because you can see what's going on in the world there. So we've definitely got the borders, and I'll just let you know because it came up twice. We've got and it is one of the main issues there in the UK. So we've got that borders deportation card, but we also have blurred boundaries or merged divides. Now this can talk about boundaries, divides, division. The division, definitely important a topic that's coming up. They probably discuss that in reference or terms to both the US and the UK, and blurring the boundaries or divides. Now, I'm feeling that as I say that with this energy here, but when I'm really getting into the energy of this card on its own, I'm feeling like it's kind of blurring the boundaries between how the partnership between the US and the UK. So they're blurring the boundaries there. So how they're working together. So this could be related to, say, the quantum computing, the development of quantum infrastructure, next gen data centers. Now that feels to me blurring boundaries will benefit both countries, or for the benefit of both militaries, or them coming together in a way. So it's a way of them blurring boundaries as a united front, and their energy coming together. So this is energy of the two countries together. Now they're thinking about how they're shaping the future moving forward. So how they're shaping, like, something about it to me feels like two separate energies with the two meetings. So we're talking like the King and Starmer energy feels two, how do I say it? It's almost like one thing said, like the King might have said to Trump about something to do with Starmer's and his way that appears to be lacking control with the people and over these issues. Maybe he's not happy about that. I'm assuming that's the case here with given the energies around it. I couldn't imagine he'd be happy with the chaos and the drama and the uprising and what's going on. And it came up in his reading. So I don't think he's happy with that situation. So maybe that's something was mentioned, and then it's a way of a negotiation or talks between Trump and Starmer around getting shit together, getting in control. Okay, and him having his relentless determination, that's a stubbornness. That is a stubbornness. Relentless determination is stubborn energy. Somebody that is doing it, I'll do it my way. Okay, this is interesting. I didn't expect to see this. This is the way I'm going to do it, and I'll do it my way. But then over here, the negotiations, we need to think about the global impact of this. We need to shape the future, because what's happening here is affecting all countries. It's a global impact. Now, maybe it's about preparations for wars. Maybe it's about how the uprising or what's happening with immigration. There's something about this key energy here that says that he's holding firm on the way he's doing things, the way he wants Starmer, the way he wants things done. But over here, it's like these negotiations, we have to think about the global impacts of this. Maybe there's having to be willing to change or think about other countries, the alliance, think about how we go moving forward. We're thinking about the future moving forward. We're thinking about the effects, the global impacts. Just quickly, I just had to bring in the energy of the King. Interesting, one of his key points was about global impacts of certain things, and that's here. But I don't think it's related to the Starmer energy. That to me feels more about getting control of the situation, getting control of the people, being more strategic. You can see the chessboard in the background, being strategic with things instead of just having a relentless stance, instead of a stubborn stance about the way things are done. Maybe being a little bit more secretive, maybe being a little bit more strategic is probably the best safe word that I can use there with that situation. Now we've got the selfish agenda. Of course, I feel that energy there of a selfish agenda, a tyrannical leadership here. I feel these energies don't need explanation, but I'm just going to read them out anyway. And fraudulent conduct. Now, what is that? Because please let me know, because I don't know what that is, but I've seen it twice now in two different readings I've done with the UK. What is the fraudulent conduct that's occurring here? Is it connected to the immigration issues that the people are standing up about? Interesting, but it's on the table, so that's very interesting. Now, the other things over here is the enemy within. Internal sabotage means the enemies within a country. So having to is it to do with the immigration? Is it to do with the uprising? Is it to do with the collective energy, the people? It is saying that the enemy for the collapse of ideals or rulership or whatever it is in the UK comes down to internal sabotage. Its enemies within are causing the collapse and the fall. So it's about trying to get control of that. You can see the puppet on the puppet strings, saying you need to get yourself organized. You need to get in control. I'm seeing the energy here of this. You need to get, and I'm feeling a little angry almost as I'm saying that, like dominant. I'm feeling dominant energy as I'm pointing the finger, and I'm saying you need to get, and I don't know the word that I'm supposed to use, but it's all about getting this stuff under control, getting a better handle on this situation. Now, it's not in a way that's stubborn, because I think that's got UK to where they are right now. This energy here with Starmer is what has got UK in the situation, the enemy within the internal sabotage, to where they are right now. But instead, over this energy is so tough. It's so, just as I hover around it, it's really intense energy. And over here, it's like, let's find a solution here. Let's find a solution to shape the future. Now it's collaborations. It's alliance energy. It's how do we shift the focus. It's that kind of energy is what I'm feeling. Now, merging the divides. Now, as I said, this can sometimes, it's not the border card in the deck. There is a border card in the deck. This one is merging boundaries between, I guess, AI and humanity. It's merging boundaries between belief systems, between ideologies. It's about, the left and the right kind of energy, blurring boundaries. It can cover all kinds of things, but I feel it's like blurring the boundaries of this partnership, or alliance, I should say, not partnership, between the two countries. And that's where I feel this is most fitting in this situation. Does it feel like one country stepping in another country's territory? Maybe it does feel like a little bit like that to me. And maybe that's where the blurred boundaries are. And I still have to feel, even though I say that, that's the energy that I'm picking up here on this. And I come in with no opinion around, who you follow, who you believe in, all of that kind of stuff. I come in from the energy of the collective energy, and seeing how things are just really getting out of hand at the moment. But I feel that they need to get stuff organised, because there's more at play here. Why there's this busyness with what's going on with, fraudulent conduct, borders, deportation, immigration, those kind of things. I think there's other stuff that they need to be more concerned about. Global impacts, future things. There's no war cards here, but I feel like getting prepared and in a better position for those kind of things is probably more important, because we have the upheaval and the chaos. So being more prepared for what could be coming, and how to be in a better position for that. But I also feel like really the first card I'm calling it first card because this is in negotiations. This is what the conversations are about. And the last card here is turbulence, chaos, drama, upheaval. So it's about getting that under control here. Now, why the two countries will be talking about that, I can understand the alliance. As I say that, I know the reason. But as I understand the alliance between UK and the US, and understanding doing what's best for those countries, and the protection and the military and all of that kind of stuff. I can understand blurred boundaries with common interests and military applications and all of that kind of stuff. I can definitely understand that. It's the energy around who rules their own countries, kind of energy, and where those boundaries become blurred. So that's where there's kind of this energy that's a bit weird, but it feels like standing your ground. This relentless determination to, I'm going to do things my way kind of energy feels on this one here, Starmer. Because it aligns with fraudulent conduct. These cards here, and I still don't know what that is exactly, but tyrannical leadership and selfish agenda does align to this determination, relentless stubbornness. So yeah, very interesting. Let me know if that does really fit in from what I've seen. I've watched him a few times, but it kind of feels, and I mostly tap into the energy of the UK. I had the wonderful pleasure last week of catching up with my UK family, and I had a really, really great, interesting political chat with my uncle. So, and it was great. So he opened my eyes on some things that's going on there in the UK, how tense it is over there for just the population in general when you're doing the shopping. Like we see the riots, well, not riots, but we see the uprising and the protests. And I asked him, is it really as bad as because I know how the media hypes everything up here. So I said, is it really that bad over there? What we're seeing on the TV? And he said, we have had enough. The people have had enough, and where everybody is at breaking point over there. But then he let me know about some other things about just general, going out in public, and it's just the tension of the places you live in, so over there, so what is going on in the communities. And I didn't know that. We don't see that kind of stuff on the TV. Just what you guys in the UK are experiencing. So my heart goes out to you all. I thought it was tense here in Australia, and Australia trying to start to stand up against things, but compared to what you guys are going through, it's nothing. We're not going through anything compared to what you're going through in the UK. So my heart goes out to you, everybody in the UK. Let's have a look at some of these deals and see what we can see here. Key highlights of deals made was artificial intelligence, so AI. How interesting. What an interesting topic to talk about with the cards. Strengthening ties between the US Centre for AI Standards and Innovation. Now we're talking also about quantum computing, 6G. So imagine how good AI is going to get once we have 6G. Now we have the UK AI Security Institute. Launches a flagship AI for science programs focused on biotech, cancer research, and precision medicine. So including some talent exchange and shared data sets and automated lab development. So interesting stuff coming up, some of these deals, and I do feel that's where they're merged. That's where the merging is that I was getting on that card. So when I said the merging between human and AI, I think that's definitely was a big topic and deals made. So I think that's going to be really relevant too coming up. But I also feel it's between the shared part here, the talent exchange and the shared data. So I think that's where we're getting that merging energy that came up in that last reading. So let's see if there's anything the cards want to say. I'll do a little bit less. Oh, look at that, straight up ethical override. I'm going to keep that card out because this is exactly what we're talking about. When I was going to ask about artificial intelligence coming up, and that this one here does represent artificial intelligence. It's a card for AI, but it's where we have to balance logic versus empathy and looking at the ethical implementation of AI so thinking about ethical ways and or overhauling structures and updating systems, including the 6G technology and the quantum computing. So that's really important. These cards are right on it. So let's see what else they want to reveal about that situation. First card that I've noticed coming out of here, there was some discrete deals here as well, some hidden agendas. Now I've changed this card completely. It's now about connections or unseen connections, and now I think that we're probably talking about the unseen connections with the use of 6G and AI. So there is some unseen strategy, unseen uses of the AI technology that was agreed to, that's planned and made preparations for, but the people will not know what that is. So this card is changing to unseen connections here. That's what it's going to be called. But hidden agendas also, I think, is really interesting and important there. Cyber attack, how interesting is that card and how relevant to the topic that I've asked? Cyber attack, so using AI and 6G to be more prepared or more guarded against cyber attacks. So we're part of this warfare that I talked about was, it includes spying from other countries and how they can hack into maybe even war applications, but having to be really guarded and protected on, those kind of things from other countries. Cyber attacks, this is data breach. Now it's interesting because we talked about the shared data between the two countries, and we're talking about 6G and we're talking about AI. All of these cards are very relevant to that, but I feel this is related to being more guarded and protected against attack, cyber attack. That's the word that I was probably looking for before. And in private data that is crucial for the defense of those countries. So having that more guarded and getting a better handle on that part of these hidden agendas. So that's really interesting. We've got social control, social media. That was something that would have been discussed, I'm sure, whether that was hidden connection, it was discreetly talked about. But yeah, the social media aspect and free speech. So that is, actually that was talked about because I saw Starmer's comment on free speech, that they've had free speech for however long, basically that's it. That's what he said. So there was nothing really answered to what's going on with your social media bans and your censorship that is really, really bad over there in the UK. So, but that's pretty much all he said. But it was raised. It was one of the questions, and it's coming up on the cards as one of the important factors. Now, maybe the AI plays a role in that. So the 6G, not only is it guarding against other countries, it could be to do with social media and the public. There could be more of that coming. So maybe it's greater censorship and open dialogue. So these were some of the things that were discussed. That was really interesting. Now, I was asking about, how the energy with the AI and the quantum computing, the 6G. But yeah, I wasn't expecting to see the censorship, social media and control coming up in this, but it was a discussion, and it is somehow connected to the 6G and to the AI. So how interesting. A couple of other cards that just fell out down the bottom in a big group is the defensive mobilization. I feel like that is really relevant. They did discuss the AUKUS deal, but then we're looking at the impacts, we're looking at the application, of 6G and AI on the defence mobilisation. We're looking at how we can incorporate AI into that. So part of this big quantum computing system that is being developed, the infrastructure that's next-gen data centres in the UK, for defensive mobilisation. It's not only for protection or protecting or guarding against cyber attacks. It's not only for social control, but it's also related to defensive mobilisation as well. Tactical response. It's a tactical response on the cyber side. Now, other things that have keep for the people is faith and hope, and this is my kind of energy that I'm sending out to you, people of the UK. Lots of hugs to you. The light cooper, keep your faith, keep your hope, keep your heart open. Economic pressure, cost of living. I know that it's difficult over there for you, and my heart goes out to you all. Now, crisis optics can sometimes look like something was in a staged appearance, so not as it seemed. So maybe they're showing on the surface one thing, but really there's some other elements at play here, some hidden agenda. So that was kind of interesting as well. The next part let's talk about civil nuclear energy. So let's talk about that. Which card? I might use these. I'm not sure if they've got nuclear energy in these cards. Maybe a card that I need to include in this deck, because I think it's relevant for... I've got plenty of AI, because AI, quantum infrastructure, that's all really important stuff, and there's a lot of that in here. But I think the civil nuclear energy, so let me just read out what that is, because I don't have my head around that information. And when I read, I prefer to go in blind. I prefer to not really know what it is before I read on it, because then I know it's coming just from the cards. Okay, aligns regulatory bodies to accelerate reactor licensing and streamline nuclear development. So it commits the UK to full independence from Russia nuclear fuel by 2028, securing supply chains. Okay, supports fusion energy research with AI enhanced collaboration. Wow, this AI is going to be in everything. Nuclear energy, interesting. Okay, is there anything you want to say about this, about the civil nuclear energy? With the intensity, the escalating conflict with Russia and Europe, we're looking at closing that door. So exactly, the cards are on it. The cards are saying that this is what's happening. The reason behind this is because UK must be reliant on Russia for the nuclear energy. So they're going to close that door. So they will no longer be reliant on that energy. It will instead be, they'll be fully independent with that energy because of the rising conflict between Russia and so they're really getting their ducks in a row. Surveillance state monitoring. So also, I think a big factor in what they were talking about with this quantum computing and the AI, a big factor is a surveillance state monitoring. And I know you're already a surveillance state, but prepare for more. Calculated moves and strategy. So really just getting your ducks in a row, like I said. It's that energy of really getting things lined up and ducks in a row here for the future, and having to act urgently. It's an urgent response because maybe they've succumbed. Maybe they're no deal is going to be made. So maybe like there's no Trump is not making a deal with Russia. So now we have to go and line up. Okay, how do we get prepared? How do we be prepared for this situation? All of these cards are kind of saying that. They're all showing underlying energy here. I know what the underlying energy is. Definitely the AI. It's definitely the 6G. It's the monitoring. It's the data information, shared resources. Definitely I can feel all that energy. But the other thing that is also important here that feels, and I know there's no war, we did see the escalating tension here, the intensity rising, but maybe it's to a point where, okay, it's time to be prepared. It's time to get surveillance. It's time to get better guards up. It's time now to get independence, and it's time to be prepared for whatever. So it's at a state where negotiations have failed, and we're now looking at where do we go from now? So state of emergency and urgent response, putting strategies in place, doing some more monitoring, surveilling, that kind of cyber technology is really going to be important. Closing the door to, having to deal with Russia in any way. Escalating conflict. A little bit concerning there. Okay, let's do a final card pull. Really interesting. So let's just do a final card pull for the energy between, and let's include Russia in this as well. Let's take a look at the world energy. Okay, and I've got the global card out. We're talking about, it does say intimidation tactics, but it's the global effects of this. Let's look about all the things we've talked about, including, G6, 6G, not G6, 6G and AI. We're talking about independence, nuclear energy, and Europe and Russia. Let's take a look at those energies. Now, trade war, but I feel like it's not just trade war. It's like selling secrets, selling information. Okay, I get it. I understand what this is saying. So this is we're not talking trade war. It's another way of saying war between countries. Look, you can see the UK there. The UK and the US together. I know that's Canada, but I think it's relevant that the alliance coming in on this side, not against Canada, so please don't think that's what I'm trying to say, but they're getting their alliances in check, in shape. They're getting their data and their contributions all set up for how they're going to each approach this topic. Now, selling secrets feels to me like they're too easily breached. Their information, their data, their global governance, because it affects everyone. So global governance. Now, global governance means one world order. It means rulership. I don't think it's meaning that in this context. I think it's probably more aligning alliances, coming together, working together globally, to govern under the same set of the more I say it, the more it sounds like, more I say it, but it does say pursuit of control. This is the King card as well. Military control, let's bring that one up again as well. Military control, getting control. We've got the King involved here, and the global governments. I just love these cards here. I think this says so much. Okay, so secrets, it's about getting tight lips, sink ships, loose lips sink ships. So let's get that ship tightened up. I think that's when I was hearing that word come through before. I think it corresponds to that phrase. So it's about getting lips sealed, about secrets, about our advancements, about our technology, about what we're preparing to do to get control of the situation. We're talking about we've got the royal family here. We've got England because it's the King. So we're talking about England. We're talking about the military, and we're talking about coming together in alliances, ruling together. Like I'm trying to explain this in a way that's not one world government. It can mean that, but I feel like it's more like aligning your ways of ruling and trying to get those things, because you're thinking about the way things weren't done in Europe is going to be affecting the rest of the world. It's really done to prepare or avoid a full-on global war. So it's like, yeah, it's trying to get under control in that way. Those cards are quite powerful. I think that's on the table. If I just read them out to you and let you know, without explaining them, because I think they're going to be very relevant cards. We've got military control. We've got pursuit of control with the royal crown, either indicating England, royal family. Then we've got global governance, talking about overall governance. Then we've got wars. And I really feel this is talking about alliances in wars, and we've got selling secrets. So keeping your mouth closed. Maybe somebody has loose lips. Interesting. And this is the unwavering stance. So this is underneath is mourning, so loss and mourning. But this here is that unwavering stance, of that stubbornness that we saw last time, sitting next to loose lips. Very interesting. Anyway, I think there's a little bit in that, but quite interesting cards that came out for that topic. Hope you enjoyed that reading. I'll see you on the next reading.